we're here to answer all your questions. So.
Oh, your sister said it's only 3 o'clock. That's funny.
No, it's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, it doesn't change time in Nicaragua. We're always the same time, but she says it's only 3 o'clock. What the hell? Maybe it does change time in Nicaragua?
Let us know if we're in the right time zone, because we're doing it.
That's right. We're live. Surprise. Maybe it's 3 o'clock. We're pretty sure it's... No, it has to be 4 o'clock because Nicaragua is mountain time. And it doesn't change as far as I know. If anyone knows Nicaragua, it is currently 4 o'clock in Nicaragua.
4 o'clock our time. So we may have given you the wrong time.
Even though we're at the wrong time and mountain time. Who knows? Time zones are crazy. Sometimes we mess them up. We've been traveling a lot, so it's hard to keep track sometimes. But yeah, if anyone has any specific questions, be sure to put them in the chat and we will answer them either as we go or when your question comes up. If we didn't already have it pegged, we'll keep an eye and we'll chat and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. So I guess kind of starting off, do you remember how many kilometers we went in total?
It was like 9,000.
9,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, just over 9,000. And that was, so we started in Cold Lake, Alberta, where we lived for the last 19 years.
Yep.
We drove all the way across Canada, or 3/4 of Canada, I guess, from Alberta all the way to Ontario to visit with my sister.
Yep.
Spent Christmas, New Year's with them, and just to have a couple weeks just to kind of like settle into retirement, get everything ready to go for our trip, because it was definitely a whirlwind leaving Cold Lake, selling our house, finishing work, packing up to go, all of that kind of stuff. So like definitely when we got to my sister's, we weren't ready to just like head out the door. We need to like get everything organized and set, which we did. And then from there, we drove all the way here. And you wouldn't believe how many people we ran into along the way. They're like, "You're driving all the way to Nicaragua? Can you drive all the way to Nicaragua?"
Yeah. Can you drive there?
Is that
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah. It's physically possible, and safety-wise, it's safe to do so. Like, I mean, with caution. Like they advise, like, take caution, but it's definitely doable. It's safe. We did it. We had no problems, like zero problems, really.
Yeah.
A few times we felt little on edge, like a little scared, but it was all in our head, I think.
Yeah.
People were super, super friendly, like it was really nice.
Well, and I think too, people always need to kind of remember that, like, I think everyone hypes up Central America, Mexico, and Nicaragua and different places to be really unsafe, but they kind of forget like the crime rate and everything where they currently live. Like it was just after we hit the road on January 2nd, there was a school shooting in Texas, I think. California. There was like a bunch of murders, like, so that stuff happens all over the place. I mean, even people we talked to generally said, like, don't go into a place if you kind of feel like it's not the right place, like you end up in a bad area. You sort of know that, right? As people, you kind of have a little bit of street sense or common sense. And as long as you have that and you're friendly and you smile at people and you just be nice, like people are willing to help you out. And yeah, like it was an amazing experience.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest regret is that we wish we would have taken longer.
Yeah, this having that time limit of getting here as quick as possible, just because we have all the stuff in the back of our vehicle, and the dog. It's just we had to go and do it in a certain time limit, so we were a little restricted. But if we can go and do this could have done it in 60 days, it would have been way more comfortable, way more easy. Yeah.
Well, we just could have spent a little more time at some of the places we loved.
It's just building up camp, sleeping overnight, because we slept in a rooftop tent the whole time. Well, pretty much the whole time.
Two times we stayed in the house.
Yeah.
Right? 2 times?
So basically it's setting up camp, getting ready, cooking food, pulling out, the stove, the dishes, all that stuff, cooking, and then knowing we got to pack it all up. Either in the morning, if we're going to have breakfast, have breakfast burritos and coffee, we know we have to go and pack it all up. Moving constantly every single day was a little exhausting.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we took 30 days, and you could do it if you were hightailing it. People say 10. I don't think you wouldn't make it in 10 getting through the borders. You maybe could do like 13 if you were pushing it, like assuming you're not driving at night.
See, definitely don't drive at night, safety wise, because it's not safe in many different aspects.
The roads
would be our number one concern, because there's speed bumps, there's holes, I don't know how and there's more tractor trailers traveling at night than during the day.
And there's people walking on the road. There's people pulling over to stop at roadside stands, and there's no side of the road. So like they're on the road with the four ways on. Like,
yeah, they just kind of pull over to the side, like pull over to whatever the side of the road is.
Yeah.
And then you come up, you're like, oh geez, you move around them.
Yeah. Most of the places you'd be lucky if a vehicle could get half their vehicle off the road. So there was plenty of dogs on the road. No dog casualties, but there was one casualty, which was a chicken. In Guatemala.
The chicken tried to cross the road. We caught it on camera. It didn't make it. Really sorry to the chicken and the owner and the chicken's family. It just happened so fast. Just next thing you know, boom, chicken's on the road. And I saw him tumbling behind me. Maybe he survived. Maybe he's like rubber, but
or someone had a chicken dinner that night.
Or someone picked him up and had a chicken dinner. That's the best case scenario. Either survive or someone had some chicken wings. Yeah. A little broken wing.
But yeah, if we could have spent a little more time, that would have been great. Also, if you regularly watch our videos, our plan was to put out a video every week while we were on the road. We got one video out when we were on the road, and that was it. And it was partly because we were moving so much all the time, but also partly because we camped a lot off grid. So like there were lots of places that we didn't have electricity.
Or very slow Wi-Fi.
Yeah, or no Wi-Fi. Like, so just some of those logistics, like, we charge up my laptop, and then trying to editing video just absolutely kills your battery. So like we'd maybe get like an hour done. And then we'd be out of juice, and if we weren't somewhere that had electricity. So definitely for future trips, we're looking into like a better system so we could charge the laptop along the way. Like we could do our charging blocks and everything. We thought we would be able to charge potentially through USB, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't work. So sorry if we've been a little behind on videos, but there's tons of great videos that'll be coming out now that we're home. We have time to like get all that content out. There'll definitely be videos every week. And I mean, we're kind of just going to go through like really like a lot of highlights today of the overall trip, but basically we'll be taking you all the way along the journey from start to finish as we travel.
Yep.
So I guess people always want to know, like, how are the border crossings?
I found the border crossings to be not that bad, like over dramatized. I think it's because we approached it with like a good sense of humor. We know that there is rules for every border. Like you cross any border, you have to follow the rules. They're there to do a job, to go and do their border crossing duties. So you run the paperwork over here, you run the paperwork over there. It's just, sometimes it's disorganized. Mm-hmm. And they're not used to a lot of people crossing. Like it's
a slow process kind of there. Like they're not set up to have like thousands of people go through at one time. Like they're not set up for that
not at all. No.
It's like one person at one wicket. You talk to them, and then you take your paperwork somewhere else, and that kind of thing. So,
and we complicated a little bit so we drive in a vehicle.
Mhm.
So that was a complication. So we had to go and get a tip, temporary import permit. And then we had to go and we registered our dogs in every country, every border crossing. We didn't try to hide them. We didn't try to smuggle them in. We legit, claimed them.
Mhm.
We said, "Yep, we got dogs. Here's our vet stuff." Tovah had a folder of stuff to, pull this. What do you need? Oh, you need vet bills? Here you go. You need vaccinations? Here you go. So she was really organized in that way. It's just, I think she was a little more organized than the border crossing people.
Yeah, probably. But that's super helpful. Like, have lots of photocopies of everything: your driver's license, your passport, your vehicle registration, all of your dog
And we
stuff.
put all the registration in Tovah's name. So that here's her vehicle, so she can go and do, I will admit, she speaks Spanish way better than me and has a little more patience. So she went in. And they also tell you that females will have an easier time crossing the border than males. So she's able to run in, do their thing.
The border was pretty good. I mean, just be prepared. It's going to be slow. And we had watched lots of other videos that people said, like, it's going to be slow. It's going to take a long time. So we were like, okay, this is what we're doing today, is we're crossing the border. So we always showed up to the border first thing in the morning, and we're like, okay, this might take us 8 hours. We just need to get across the border, and we know we can find somewhere to camp that's really close by if need be. It never took us that long. Like, even the longest border was getting into Nicaragua, and it was 3 hours and 15 minutes or 3 hours and 45 minutes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the other borders were a little quicker. Average was about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, it's not quick border crossings. By all means, I don't want to go and say that it was quick.
No.
It was expected, but not as bad.
Yeah, better than what we expected. We were
prepared for really bad.
And some of the places I was able to get his passport stamped without him coming out of the car. I think one place, pretty much everywhere else, he had to get out of the car, but it was just like, he just had to get out, get his passport stamped, and that was it. I could go do the vehicle and the dogs and everything else. So that worked well. Like, if you were traveling by yourself with a dog, that would be, I think, a lot more stressful, just because, like, we kept the car running to keep the air conditioner on.
Yeah, we didn't want to go and have the car, keys in ignition, car running. We're inside a building. Even though it's safe and secure, they promise you, like, no, it's super safe, super secure. And we didn't want to go and have a remote start, because it was 30 degrees. Some border crossing, or actually, I think we recorded at 34 at the Nicaragua border crossing.
Yeah.
So it gets pretty hot in the vehicle. We had sunshade on the front windshield to keep it out. We had the 2 window shades, we'll say.
Yeah, we have like these really cool shades / mosquito netting that shades, and you can put it on all 4 of the passenger and the back windows. So when we're stopped, we put everything in the shade and run the air conditioner, and that was really good. If you are crossing the borders, though, just be prepared. The Nicaragua border, as promised, the slowest go, was the only place. Well, in El Salvador, they wanted to open the tent. We just had to open it.
Yep.
But Nicaragua, we just take everything.
Everything. And we're like, you want everything out of the vehicle? Like, yeah, we need everything out of the vehicle so we can x-ray it. So leave nothing in there. Like, and then once I emptied everything out, the guy came in and inspected. He's like, no, pull that out, pull out. I'm like, holy. So anyway, pulled it all out, put it on the curb.
Yeah, on the street.
And then I drove around through the car x-ray machine, which is made for tractor trailers. Like, it's a ginormous warehouse for x-ray and tractor trailers. Stuff with content in it. So anyway, it goes through the vehicle. It's like, usually it's a long, 2 minutes x-ray. For us, it's like 5 seconds. It's done. But come all the way back, and they're like, nope, don't put anything in the vehicle. We want to get the x-rays back. So they got the x-rays back, and they're like, no, there's something in your vehicle. They pulled up a blanket, and it left, it's a box of batteries, like AA, AAA batteries.
It's underneath the dog bed.
It was underneath the dog bed, keeping it level, which I completely forgot about. And then once they saw that, they're like, yeah, no problem. They had the X-ray right there, and they're like drawing circles on it, making notes, all this stuff, and we were good to go.
Yeah, and they thoroughly searched all of the stuff that was on the curb. We
and
opened
then
every bag, they rooted through, they looked.
every bag had to be opened up, pull things out, explain what it is, why we're bringing it. Camping, it's a camping stove, we're camping this, we're camping that. A giant propane tank, we brought the 20 liter, 30 liter, whatever the standard propane tank is. We brought that with us because we didn't want to run out of, well, propane, cooking fuel. But they took pictures of that. Anyways,
yeah.
Nicaragua was interesting.
Yeah, but all in all, it was a good experience. We didn't have any issues at the border. Nothing got confiscated. Like we were worried about our dog food getting confiscated. Like I even went so far as to like stash a few Ziploc bags of dog food in various places because I was like, if you take my big bag of dog food, you know, we didn't want the dogs to have to be switching their food multiple times along the way.
While driving, yeah.
Like we know that they're going to have to get new food here in Nicaragua, which we've already taken care of. So we kind of just wanted to do like a switch once, and then maybe if we change food or whatever, but we didn't want like every 3 or 4 days to be like, okay, we gotta get different food. Nobody even cared about the dog food, and honestly, it was the states that we were really worried about. They didn't even ask about the dog food.
And we believe it would be completely fine to bring the dog food that we're bringing with us because it's salmon and fish.
Yeah.
There's no beef, no pork, no lamb, no chicken. It's salmon and fish, wild fish.
Yeah, and vegetables. So we didn't think it would be an issue even if they did look at it, but we were prepared in case they did, that we stashed a little bit, at least to have like a couple of days worth of food to like mix it, because they say it's not good to like just cut your food and then switch to a totally different diet for dogs. You want to ease them in. So yeah, no issue with the dog food. We brought some tools.
Yep.
And we were worried that maybe either we would have had to pay like some import taxes or like something like that. No
Didn't
issue.
care. No.
I just wanted to say hi. We've got the Coles, our neighbors from Cold Lake. Hey guys, we really miss you. They've tuned in, and the Carmens, Chris and Ashton.
Yes.
Doug's
nice.
Doug's son. Hi guys, watching from Saskatoon or Saskatchewan. Regina. You guys are in Regina.
Regina.
Well, I guess we'll get into some more fun stuff here. So we try to pick out some of our favorite things from the trip to talk about. There's so many things, so definitely go back, watch all the videos as they come out. They'll have way more information. But if we said, what was like one of our favorite in-town or city things that we did? Because we were traveling with the dogs and we were camping, and we're not really big city people to begin with, like we would rather stay and explore like little towns and little spots. Especially because like we've been to Nicaragua a bunch of times, we've been to Mexico, we've been to some of these places that it's like we don't need to go to every little tourist town there is.
So we wanted to go and have real culture, real experience, see and talk to the people, the locals.
Yeah.
And it was, I would say, amazing, like super.
It was amazing. But I mean, those cities are there for you if that's what you're interested in. We just didn't really plan a lot of city stops because, we're going to drive through the town for one, but like we're not really people who stop and get like touristy trinkets and stuff like that. So like Chris said, it was more about the culture and like that real experience for us.
And also driving through some of the towns and the major cities, super stressful. Like I get stressed when I drive, like through.
He's a great driver though.
But we made it all the way here and no accidents.
And then we got sideswiped yesterday.
And then I parked on the side of the road, like trying to stay out of the way. And then, a red truck drives by and hits the back end of our car.
I say sideswiped. They rubbed us. Like
it was a rub.
Damage, but
yeah,
it was kind of ironic.
It was very ironic. The whole trip down here, nothing. And then day one, going to Rivas, and little rub. Like, seriously.
All the more reason to not have a brand new vehicle. Like, it's going to happen. We honestly thought that would happen sooner.
Yeah. But no, like driving in the cities and in towns, people park everywhere. There's no parking rules or restrictions. Like, there's no bylaws. Like, people just like, oh, hey, I'm just going to pull over this meat shop. There's not even pulling over. They just stop on the road. And then
the four-way's on.
Everyone has to move around them. And it's common. Like, it's not a big deal to them.
It seems like a big deal to us, but it's the way they do life. I mean, they also do that because there isn't anywhere to park.
No.
So
Yeah, the road, like the infrastructure and roads are just not built for large amount of traffic. Like it's olden day roadways that have never been expanded.
well, some of them can't because the businesses and stuff are like they are
They're
right
right
at
there.
the edge of the road, right at a sidewalk. So
If there is even a sidewalk, like
if there's a
this.
sidewalk, yeah.
Yeah.
So cities, the one city that we did really go to and went into the city was in Esteli.
Oh yeah, Stelly.
And that's in Nicaragua. So we've actually been in Nicaragua for a few days. We spent a few days exploring some areas of Nicaragua we haven't went. And why did we go to Esteli? I'll let Chris tell you all about it because this was like one of his favorite days.
Well, it's a long story or not, but basically it's the cigars. Like Esteli is the number one cigar region in Nicaragua, and Nicaragua produces one of the best cigar tobaccos in the world. If you look it up, you'll see a huge debate on who is number one. And you'll see on the real list, Cuba is actually not number one. Sorry, used to be number one, but their process is the best, but the best tobacco leaves don't come from Cuba. They come from Dominican Republic. They come from Nicaragua. There's another top three, but anyway, Nicaragua has the best leaves.
And we've been to Cuba, and Chris has tried all the top name cigars in Cuba, so he knows what he's talking about.
So, but I mean, it's up for opinion on what you like. You know, the flavor of it, the everything. They make Cuba's process is very, very long and detailed. Like we'll say it's 100 steps. It's how they make the cigar that makes Cuba the best cigar. But anyway, we're getting off track here. Esteli.
Yeah. Very, very cute little town.
Very cute town. We were there during a cigar festival, but we never even noticed that there was the cigar festival there. But we stopped at a bunch of factories. The first one we went into, we pretty much got kicked out because you're not allowed to sell. We asked to go and buy right off the bat, and they're like, no, that's illegal. Get out of here. Like, no. So they can't sell their own cigars out of the factory. They have to export them all. We were able to get into a few cigar shops, just go and say, we want a tour. That's all we want. We just want a tour. Had a tour, went around, learned so much about the tobacco leaves, the process, how they made them. We watched them make them.
Yeah, we were right on the floor with the workers.
Yeah, and then they gave Tovah, like one place they gave Tovah the raw leaf, and she destemmed it. I was able to go and look at it, and it was pretty cool, pretty interesting. If you ever have a chance to do that anywhere in the world, I suggest rolling a cigar, like go into a cigar shop, rolling your own cigar, or seeing how it's done. The one's really my favorite spot. They say they roll 9,000 cigars a day. Like it is just, I don't know how many people, 30 people, 20 people?
Probably like 50, but that's not all the rollers. Like some of them are like destemming and getting the leaves already. And
yeah, they're just rolling them all up, and they're just so quick, so efficient. They do it all the time. And we ask, do you only make, the torpedoes, or do you make, you only make one type? And they're like, no, we're versatile. They can go to any station, whatever the order asks for.
Yeah.
A lot of them can move around. And
it was like the two places that we went for a tour. So like Chris said, the first place that we stopped at, they're like, no tours. You probably had to like pay to get in on like a special like scheduled tour. We stopped at two other places and we just walked in, and they're like, oh, hey, you're from Canada. We're like, can we go for a tour? They're like, no, let me make a call. Let me call the boss.
Yeah, they basically had to call the boss to go and make sure that it was good to go. And then they stumbled through the first place, stumbled through their English.
Yeah.
Try to explain it to us, and then just basically explain it to us in Spanish. We caught on quite a bit of it, very basic and body language.
Yeah.
But that first place is pretty good. And then one of the names of the cigars they make is street taco.
Street taco.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a Mexican cigar, and it's made in Nicaragua. Favorite spot? Oh, one of my favorite spots we got into.
Well, then the second place we went for a tour, the guy like called his boss. His boss invited us up to the office.
Went up to his nice, like, fancy office, his nice, like, humidor.
Yeah.
He's sitting back having like cigar, like, and then he was like,
we chatted with him for a bit.
yeah, because we had a translator. He invited up a translator, and we sat up in his super cushy couch, super nice office. Like, the guy's doing pretty good for himself. I mean, he rolled 9,000 cigars a day. He makes good money. So we're up there just chatting up with him. Really interesting. I asked where he got his humidor from, and where I can buy one too. He's like, nowhere around here makes humidors like this. This one, China. I'm like, oh.
Well, and it's funny because Chris has a really nice humidor, but it's in Canada, and it was like a very similar one.
Very similar. His is all engraved and etched and like very cool.
Yeah. Well, and then the guy that he brought up to like translate, he was like one of like the floor supervisors or whatever, and he took us all around, showed us everything. Even gave Chris a cigar, like they smoked cigars.
And he's like, do you smoke? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. He's like, oh. So he goes over and he pulls out like a Churchill. And well, I think Tovah asked him what his favorite cigar is. And he's like, Churchill. And we're like, oh, of course it's that one. So he goes over to...
Those are big ones if you're not cigar people. Like they're big, fat
I'm
cigars.
Not... Like they're big. Like those will give you like a headache or like make you vomit if you're not prepared for them. So anyway, he goes over, he pulls right off the table, fresh, like just off the table, ready to be packaged all up and like shipped out. Hands it over to me, hands his clippers, his lighter, lit it all up, and then right in the cigar factory, just had a nice cigar.
Smoking and chatting.
Yeah. Finished the tour of the place, and yeah, super nice.
Yeah, so that was a really good time. And then we were looking for a place to camp, and there's a cigar shop, which actually was the first one we went to. We knew it was like just on the outside of Esteli, like on the far side from where we were coming. So we were up north in Samato Canyon. We came down into Esteli. So we're like, okay, let's go to the farthest place first, and then we'll kind of like work our way back, because we knew that this place, you could stay there and camp. And so we wanted to check it out to know if it was good. Then we'd come back at the end of the day. And that's what we did. The owner, super nice, Julio.
Yep. From Cuba.
He's from Cuba. And so he has a cigar shop. And then in back, it used to be a factory for making cigar boxes, but they're not really doing boxes anymore. And he's like a whole gated area. There's like bathrooms, Wi-Fi. He lets people stay for free. He won't take any money. He just wants to like chat with you and get to know you. And so we get to chatting with him. He has a house that he's building in San Juan. We're like, oh, whereabouts? It's like down the road from us. So we're like, oh, he's planning to move to San Juan really soon in the next couple of months. There's just some issues with his water. So we're like, oh, well, hopefully, like, we'll see you around town. Like, for sure, he's maybe going to open a cigar shop or something in town. So, yeah, so Esteli was awesome. Yeah, really, 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 really fun. And I mean, I'm not into cigars, but like I know Chris really likes it, and I like the smell, like when he's smoking it, and I don't know, it's just really fun watching him have so much fun.
Oh yeah, it was really fun, a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Oh, so I wanted to circle back to the border crossing of Nicaragua. I said the most difficult border crossing. It does seem like they are. Their main search, what they want to find, is drones.
Yes.
Drones. Never try to bring a drone to Nicaragua. If you do, you're braver than me. I would never bring it in because they are so hardcore about trying to find these drones. That's what they thought they found in my battery case. They thought it was drone parts. Also, binoculars. Don't try to bring binoculars. They will get seized at the border. You can't bring drones. Don't bring binoculars. And only bring like one camera per person, we'll say, or your cell phone. Cell phone's fine.
Yeah.
But if you have a really high-end camera, like we have a nice GoPro 9, and we also have another, we have a Canon
EOS something.
EOS 50. Anyway, it's a nice camera, not the top of the line camera, but they classify those two cameras, the GoPro and the Canon, as professional journalism cameras, and they get suspicious of those. So not the common tourist would be bringing those in, even though I'm a tourist and I would bring them in, and a lot of people I talk to would bring a GoPro because it's common around the world. But they'll let you through with it. But if you have 5 cameras, they will classify you as a journalist, and they may hold your camera at the border for you to retrieve it later on. There might be a fee.
Yeah.
Or they might just deny you entry because they'll believe you are a journalist, and they don't want unregistered journalists roaming the country. But if you're bird watching or making vlogs, that's acceptable.
Yeah.
They're completely fine with that. They want to go and enhance the beauty of Nicaragua, but it's a political thing.
Yeah.
We won't get too far into that.
Yeah, I was going to say, they changed the rules a little bit. Well, they said they were going to change them just the other day, and then they didn't. They rescinded them, so it's still a little unclear. But for the most part, it's like if they think you're like some kind of professional journalist.
Yeah, so 0 drones, 0 binoculars, bring 1 professional camera per person, and you shouldn't have any problems.
Yeah. Well, obviously, no guns or drugs either. They're looking for that too. But
that's just common sense. Don't bring it through any border.
Well, I mean, common sense, but if there's anyone watching that's like from the States where they're allowed to carry guns, people maybe wouldn't know. But yeah. Also kind of interesting when we're talking about that is like here, everybody has a machete. Like every day you see multiple people just walking around carrying their machete. It's hanging off their belt. It's in their backpack.
Yeah, that's very common to go and see people walk around with machetes.
Yeah, so don't feel unsafe if you see
and that's just because we're going through farming villages, and that's their tool.
Yeah,
that's not
everything.
It's not a risky thing. Yeah, it's not a weapon. It's a tool.
Yeah. So lots of people want to know how we decided where we're going to stop, where we're going to stay every night with camping. So if you haven't tried the app iOverlander, it is a really, really great app. You go in, you can choose a place, you can look at a map, and then you can just like see, okay, here's the dot on the map where I am, here's everything around me, or you can search ahead like the next day, 3 days later, wherever you're going. You can see all the spots where other people have stayed and put in reviews. They'll tell you like, is there Wi-Fi? Are the bathrooms clean? Is there showers? All that kind of stuff. How much room there is. Like if some people are driving like a big vehicle, like a big van or RV or stuff like that, they'll say, okay, this isn't a spot for you, or no, this is. They've got room for a couple people, that kind of thing. So we really used that. It was
iOverlander was perfect, like an excellent tool for us. Like to go and plot where we want to stay, where it's safe. It's nice.
And it works well when you don't have Wi-Fi or data either.
Yeah.
So as long as you have the app downloaded, then you're good to go, even if you're a spot that doesn't have cell service or anything like that, which is really nice because, I mean, lots of times we're going from here to there. We'd sometimes be in some areas that didn't have cell coverage. We generally had decent cell coverage, but there were some areas that we didn't have it. And we were sometimes we knew when we left in the morning where we were going to stay the next night or hoped to stay. Sometimes we were kind of figuring it out as we were on the road. So iOverlander, great app.
Yes.
And it doesn't just show camp spots; it shows like
gas
spots,
stations,
hotels,
water,
gas stations.
Oh, it's a phenomenal tool.
It shows where the border crossings are.
Shows you like caution sites, like, oh, this is where a check stop was, and there's a lot of caution sites in Nicaragua. Before you enter a city and when you exit city, there's a lot of check stops. iOverlander is phenomenal.
We would just tell people, like, we just got home, so we still need to go in and we need to do like our reviews of each place that we stayed. but it's on our agenda. I would just tell people, if you are using the app, even if it's not like right away, but like once you get back from your trip or whatever, go in and do a review, just because it's helpful for other travelers, especially because it tells you like the date and stuff that people stayed. So sometimes if you're looking at a spot, you're like, oh, it says the last time someone was here
Yeah, no
was
one
like
stayed
3
here.
years ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, is it still a spot? Is it not a spot? And then you go there and like, oh yeah, it's a spot. It's no big deal. So just that was one thing I think would be helpful. And I know not everybody likes doing reviews, but like it is helpful to other people in the community that are using the app and finding
Yeah, just even just a check-in going, yep, the place is still there. The price is still $10 or whatever. The place is closed if it's closed.
Yeah.
Or it's in the wrong location. Like the pin drop is in the wrong location. The real location is this GPS coordinates. So
Yeah, super helpful app. And we will in each video go through like where we specifically camp. So if you'll see the campsite and you want to camp there. But I think we did a good job. We found some good spots, some really good spots along the way. So speaking of camp spots, we're going to go through, it's hard to narrow it down, our top 5 spots that we went. Top 5. This is not in any particular order. Well, maybe the first one is the number 1. Hard to say. Lake Atlan, Guatemala.
beautiful. Oh my God.
Like, it was a dream. If you haven't seen a couple of photos that we posted recently on Instagram and Facebook, go take a look. You can't make that up. Like, I can't believe we were literally camping like right at the lake, like looking right out into the lake. And if you've seen some of those famous Lake Atlan photos, we were in that spot. Like, we were camping steps from where those pictures were taken. Beautiful sunsets, beautiful with the sun, and the temperature's nice, and yeah, just so many
Oh,
nice
very
things.
comfortable. Very comfortable temperature there.
Yeah. And the camping, really reasonable price, and they give you access to, like, if there's a little hotel there, they have a pool that you can use. There's showers, there's a restaurant. We didn't go to the restaurant, but there's a restaurant in the hotel. So there's like, you can use some of the amenities of the places. And we found that in a few places where we were camping. You could use some of the hotel amenities or like the little motel amenities, if you will. So Lake Atlan, wait for that video. Amazing spot. Loved it there. Number 2, not in a specific order, was Cerro Verde, which is right near the Santa Ana
In El Salvador,
volcanoes
yeah.
in El Salvador.
Oh yeah, that's a good spot.
Really good spot. And we must have drove up probably
It's very high altitude.
like 15 kilometers up, I think.
Yeah.
Or more, like just winding up. And there's actually there's two or three spots. I think there's 3 spots you can camp there. We just stayed at one spot, but loved the area. Would love to go back there and spend some more time. The only thing we didn't like there was the dogs.
So yes, the beautiful spot. It's very rustic. We'll say very rustic. The washrooms. Tovah did not like the washrooms
Out of a
whatsoever.
horror movie, but
I was not a fan of them either. Typical spot. Obviously didn't have toilet seats.
you're lucky if you're going to get a toilet seat once you leave the U.S. Just be prepared for that.
Yeah. So, and also bring your own toilet paper kind of situation.
Always bring.
And you flush the toilet by drawing a bucket of water from the sink and dumping it because it's not running water.
Yeah, pit toilets, which a lot of places have pit toilets.
But it's a rustic campsite, and that's what it's made for. You can book cabins,
Yeah, they have some cabins.
so they may have running water in there. No guarantee. We didn't see inside, but beautiful spot, high elevation,
Lots of space.
lots of space, very friendly. I think it was super cheap too. Like, how much was that
$750, I think. $750 US.
per
And
person or total?
total. And when I came back to the car to tell Chris the price, he thought it was like 750 quetzales or something. Like, he thought it was way more than what it was. I was like, no, I think I thought it was $75. And I was like processing the Spanish in my head. And I was like, oh, I messed it up.
This
It's
is not
$7.50.
Yeah, not
not
$75. I'm like, this is not $75 plate.
No.
Oh, it's $7.50. Oh, I can afford that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So really nice spot there.
Really nice spot.
But
Oh,
they
so
had the dogs.
they had so late at night, our dogs were on like leashes or tie outs, but they every so often there'd be like a dog appear in the dark and just be very curious about our dogs, but it'd scurry off, no big deal. But then once we went to bed, we heard like a pack of dogs, and the pack of dogs didn't sound very friendly.
No.
Like they sounded like they're coming across other dogs and like bullying it, like whimpering and whining, and it was very unnerving, hearing dogs in distress. And we're like, hey, once they get into a pack, maybe not so friendly or safe, but individually they were completely fine.
Yeah. And it wasn't like they were coming to our campsite trying to attack
No.
our dogs or anything like that. It was just, we heard them. Chris saw the pack at one point, and we're just kind of like, ooh, just be cautious of that. Like I got up to go pee, and I was like, ooh, like watch out for dogs.
Yeah. And I don't think they would harm us or attack us at all. I think it's more concern for our two dogs, which were in the back seat of the car, so they were safe and sound.
Yeah.
But that had a concern for me.
Yeah. Okay. Another spot that we really loved was Playa Azul, which was a beach camp spot in Mexico.
Which was our first spot.
Mm-hmm.
Very first
beach spot, because we stayed at the Country Hotel in Mexico. The second spot we stayed in Mexico.
Okay. So yeah, amazing place. And then Tovah's like, can we stay an extra night? I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll stay an extra night. I love this place. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
And this was a spot, there's a little hotel there as well. So we didn't stay in the hotel, we camped. We were like camped right in this place had, like the hotel was like in the back, and then in the front of the hotel, and I say in the front because it was going to the ocean. So really it was like the front of the hotel, there was like a whole grassy area with like tables, and there was like some barbecue pit areas. And then basically from there it went into sand, and then it was sand all the way to the ocean. Like you could see the ocean. We were probably like 200 meters away from the actual water.
Yep. And we could have actually parked right on the sand as well. We asked them like, how much is staying on just the sand, like staying right on the beach? And they're like, oh, that's free. If you want to go stay on the beach, that's absolutely free. And we considered it, but I'm like, well, our vehicle is super heavy with all the extra stuff that we're carrying. Didn't want to sink, didn't want to get stuck. And also, we were wide open on the beach.
This one was a little bit safer.
A little bit safer. First camping in Mexico. So we stayed just a little ways away at like a resort type.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my God.
Well, and after when we were kind of back and forth, like, do we stay right on the beach? Do we not? I was also glad we didn't, because we had shade trees where we were, which is much better for us and the dogs. We don't really like to sit in the sun. And the beach was actually, like when we went down there, the beach was actually really busy.
There's a tuba player down there.
Yeah. So when we were sitting back, like there was just us and like a couple other people around. Like it was really serene and peaceful. The beach was like mega party. I mean, it calmed down once it got dark, but yeah, that was an awesome spot. Number 4, Playa Sunsal, which is in El Salvador. We really loved El Salvador, and I would say that was probably one of my biggest surprises, because I kind of thought like, I don't know if we're gonna like El Salvador. Didn't really know as much about El Salvador, and like lots of people were like, "Ooh, you're going to El Salvador!" Like that was like the reaction we got from so many people. But it was so nice there, and this beach is right near.
We're frozen again.
Oh, we're frozen.
We're frozen again on the video. Really sorry about that. I believe. And the audio, hopefully you can still hear us. So we'll just continue on, see if it fixes itself. If not, we're fixed.
Okay.
So it must have heard me.
Got frightened. But yeah, Playa Sunsal. It's actually the beach or the playa right beside El Tunco, which lots of people have heard of El Tunco. It's a pretty famous surfing beach in El Salvador.
Oh, yes, yeah.
It was literally like the end of Playa Suncel, there's just like some rocks, and the beach was right there. Like we could see people surfing in Chunco where we were, and we were literally camped. Like we were on the beach underneath a ranchero or a palapa.
Yeah.
We knew that the water was not going to come up to the car. Like we were out of where high tide would be.
So they built up these sandbanks just to go and lift you up a little bit higher than the high tide. So then we woke up in the morning and the tide did reach the sandbanks.
The sandbag.
Or the sandbags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like 5 feet from our car.
Yeah.
So the ocean was really loud at night. Like I remember waking
super
up,
loud.
like it was so nice. I'm like, I woke up and I went to go pee, and then I just like stayed outside for a while and just watched it. Like it was so, and then I crawled back in the tent and then I watched it.
Yeah. So it's kind of a nice problem to have is the waves are too noisy. Like
yeah, not too noisy, never too noisy. Like it was really nice. And then the 5th spot on our list was camping at Samato Canyon in Nicaragua.
Yeah, and that was really nice and very, again, rustic. But we're basically on a farmer's land who owns all the way up to the canyon. And then there's a little fence. You just open the fence up and you're in the canyon.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And like where this property is, it's like a local swimming hole. So like there'd be some locals like coming down, not the farmer's road, but like the next little plot of land over, like going to swim. People come and do their laundry, take a little bath, go for a swim. The farmer who he has a big garden there with like tons of fruit trees and stuff, and he's doing like irrigation. He was super nice. Like we chatted with him a bunch, and we stayed there for 3 days.
Yeah, and he's trying to grow a bunch of bunch of fruit plants. So we had a lot of bananas or plantains.
They were bananas.
The bananas.
Sure. Yeah.
Growing there. There's orange trees that he's like, help yourself. So we were pulling oranges off the tree or off the ground as they fell and they ripened.
Yeah.
Super delicious. Amazing. Very juicy. Yeah.
And it was super, super, super quiet there. Like other than a few people coming down to the swimming hole to have a swim, like there was nobody around. Like it was, I would say, the odd time at night we might have got a teeny bit spooked. So like, what are those noises? What's going on? Because we were
got super
in the
dark.
middle of nowhere and it's super dark.
Yeah, super dark. There's no lights anywhere around you. And only lights you have is the lights that you have, and like the flashlights and vehicle lights and the stars. And the stars in every single campsite were amazing. Like you just lay there, like looking through the rooftop tent sunroof, and you're just staring at the sun. You're staring at the moon and the stars. It's gorgeous. And a couple spots we had fires.
Yeah.
Like this campfires. Just because.
Yeah. So like amazing camping spots, like super safe. Everyone's really friendly. And I think probably one of the things we liked the most is like, it was more like, like we've been to the Grand Canyon and we've camped like down in the canyon and it is quiet. And, yes, sometimes you hear noises and you're like, ew, what was that? But like all in all, it's really peaceful and it's not like you're camping and the next tent is right beside you and the people are right there and you could hear everybody like so close, you can't even have a conversation without hearing the next person. Even the places that we went that I would say were more busy, we were always the only camper there. And even if there was other people, like it wasn't overrun, there was lots of space. Even if there were other campers, there was lots of space for people to spread out. No offense to the RV people, but I don't know. I don't know if I would really love being parked in an RV place all the time where like the next RV is like 10 steps from your door and the next one's 10 steps from them. And the next one's 10 steps from them. Like it's nice to be more spread out and have a little bit of privacy and quiet. Camp food. So we made most of the meals ourselves, ate on the road, used our camp
Probably the best
stove.
meals I've ever had. No.
What was your favorite, sweetie?
There would be the camp pizza.
Yeah, skillet pizza. So stay tuned. There is a video coming. I'll show you exactly how to make it. It is the easiest recipe. Like, I mean, easy. Like you basically put all the ingredients in a bag, you prep that ahead of time, but you pour it out, you add water, and like the toppings, the sauce, the cheese, you do everything all right in your skillet, all in one step, and then you just cook it. And yeah, it's
perfect.
It's great.
Yeah.
Not just for camping, you can do it at home too.
Yeah, you can do it at home. But we brought along this really nice cooler that plugs right into the cigarette lighter. Well, cooler, freezer. So one side is a cooler, other side is a freezer, or you can swap them over, whatever size of cooler, freezer you need, or fridge freezer you need.
Yeah.
It was great. We had to go and, since we travel every single day, we kept the battery charged, so it was good overnight. But we did find near the end when we were staying in Samato Canyon for a few days and we didn't run the vehicle as much, our car battery did get low and it would kick out because it's got a safety protection so it won't kill your battery. So anyway, it's good for you.
Yeah.
So we bought cheese, we bought pepperoni, all from stores along the way.
Yeah.
And bought ingredients, and we made this pizza that was phenomenal.
Yeah, really good pizza. We also had really good burritos. So we had like some beef and bean burritos, and we had some breakfast burritos. Those were always a favorite. I made those up ahead of time before we left, and then I just wrapped them in wax paper and then saran wrap. And they were all like, we had some in our cooler and some in our freezer. So we just pull those out if we wanted just something really quick that was like already done but homemade. So that was nice. And then Chris said we were talking this morning about what we want to say for food. So I'll say one of our favorite street foods that we got was pupusa, which was from El Salvador, and it's like a thick corn tortilla that's stuffed with a little bit of like cheese, or some of them have like beans or meat or chicken, or like they're all kind of different. Someone described it to me, pupusas are kind of like pizza. Everybody fills them a little bit different, makes them a little bit different, but it's the same kind of idea. They're gluten-free for anybody who needs to not eat gluten or just prefers to not eat gluten. So Roberta, you will love these. I am going to try to make them. But I think there might be a spot in Nicaragua, in San Juan, that makes them. I'm going to find it. Yeah. I think by the gas station there is a spot. But these pupusas, really, really amazing. And like super affordable. One place we bought 20 pupusas for I think $12 or $10, something like that. It's really, really good price. And they're like, I don't know, yay big around, like a little bit bigger than like a small pita or like a flattened English muffin, a little bit bigger than that. And we had a couple left over. So when we were camping in Samato Canyon, I used the last couple and actually made breakfast sandwiches with pupusas. I might have outdone myself. They were
amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Breakfast sandwich pupusas. Yeah.
Not the most healthy breakfast sandwich, but it was like our last day in the canyon, and I was like, okay, we're doing it up. We had bacon, we had eggs, and local cheese. Yeah, it was really, really good. And then if we went with like our favorite meal out, that had to go to El Salvador as well.
Oh, geez, yeah. I don't remember. Like, I know it was on the beach one, really close to the name of it.
Tell them about your meal and I'll remember the name.
So I will call it like a pasta soup, but it's not pasta soup. It's just so much sauce.
Very
saucy.
Like
very saucy Alfredo, like fettuccine Alfredo. It was basically just swimming in the sauce. Like they didn't skimp, which I love, which they didn't skimp on. It was just like basically like just ripping off each noodle. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then it came with some nice bread. It was really good.
Yeah.
So he had that, and I had a fresh fish ceviche, which it was really, really good. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But we also had like tacos, and like we had lots of good food along the way.
Oh,
we stopped at places.
Yeah.
But those are our favorites.
Yeah.
Best beer. So we enjoyed a few beverages in the evening along the way.
Oh, Golden. I think that was El Salvador.
That was El Salvador as well.
So just so you know, if you plan to move into El Salvador, there's a lot of highlights for El Salvador.
Yeah.
I was actually on the Google looking up real estate in El Salvador, like is this an actual viable place to move to? And I would say yes. El Salvador would be on top of my list of places to move. Like it's
The people were nice. The roads were the best in Central America.
amazing
Great
roads, like super smooth asphalt. Like they were just El Salvador has a lot going for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go and say their president, their current president, the new president, I don't think he's new. I think he's been there for quite a while,
Years, I think, yeah.
5 years or so. Very impressed with what he's doing. So good infrastructure.
Yeah.
So he's got that going for him.
And we talked to a few locals, and that's what they said. They said the new president, he's really cleaned things up. He's really for the people. He's made it way safer. So like that reaction where people are like, "Ooh, you're going to El Salvador? Like, I don't know if you should do that or not."
Yeah, 10 years ago, wouldn't recommend it. But now, El Salvador, top of the list.
Yeah, they've got tons of volcanoes. Like, it really is a place we want to go back to at some point and spend a bit more time and do some hiking and all of that. But like, food was great, the people was great. They had our favorite beer.
Oh, the beer, Golden. Golden,
Yeah,
if you've never had it, it was, it's good, really good.
And I say that I'm not really much of a beer drinker. I drank some Goldens. I mean, I drink Tonia too. Tonia is
and
good.
it's cheap. Like, this is like their cheap beer. And it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I told you, but it's good.
Yeah, it is good.
Papusa, good.
We love the pupusas. So that was our favorite. If you're a beer drinker, Mexico, there's Tecate and of course Corona. We had some of those. In Guatemala, the main local one is Gallo.
Oh,
It's
yes.
got a chicken on it.
Yeah,
Kind
the
of
rooster or
ironic
the
that you did
chicken, Gallo.
El Salvador, Golden. There's a few other brands, but that's the most popular one. And then, of course, Nicaragua. There's Tonia, which is our favorite.
Yeah, Victoria.
And there's Victoria.
There's also Victoria in, not the same Victoria, in Mexico as well, which was good. It's different.
Different.
But Victoria and Tonia, which Tonia is my favorite Nicaraguan beer.
Yeah, me too.
And then you can't turn down the Florida Cana rum.
Oh, yeah.
And you can only get this, as far as I know, you can only get that. This here is the Florida Cana coconut.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
Yeah, even here it's hard to find.
It's hard to find. We found it at a La Colonial in Managua, and we've looked at a bunch of other places since we've been in Nicaragua, and we couldn't find it. Last time we were here, we actually ironically found it in the same spot. That's at the Metro Central Mall. The La Colonial and the Metro Central Mall.
But last time we were able to go and buy it for I think $320 quart, which is less than $10. I think it was like $9. Price has gone up. It's now 500. I think 528 quart. I think I paid for this one, which is like 15. Well, $15 per bottle,
And
which
it's
is
more
still
expensive than the regular rum.
yeah,
but
which is still amazing.
very cheap. Yeah. That's actually what we're enjoying today. It's a little first nip in the Florida Cana since we've been here. One thing that we would leave you with in terms of beer, so because we're camping, we would often like stop somewhere and then we grab a couple drinks from at the grocery store or market or pulperia or whatever, little corner store and get drinks. Well, the one spot that kind of failed us was in Lake Atlin. So Lake Atlin is a very tourist area. It's kind of funny because where we were camping at the lake, like literally the most picture perfect place that everyone wants to come, there was nobody there. There was the odd people that would come. They would
It's their
come
winter,
take a
so
few pictures, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, they would come, they would take a few pictures. A lot of the people would go into the little town of Lake Atlin, which is Panashal, something like that, is the name of the little town, but not really spend that much time at the actual lake itself, which I guess, I mean, unless you're camping there or something, like once you've seen it, I guess. But I mean, it's a great spot to camp. But anyway, where I was going with this is there's a little corner store there. And so we're like, oh, we're going to have a campfire. Let's go get a couple drinks. And so I go to a little store to get us a couple drinks. Well, highway robbery. It was really expensive for that same beer that you would get, like at the corner store in town.
Yeah.
Or
they know it's
away.
a tourist area and there's nowhere else to buy it.
Yeah.
So they marked up their beer at that little corner store way up.
Yeah, like 3 times the price. And like there's that little corner store where we camped. There was a little hotel where we were, and then down the road, I think there's 2 other little hotels. And then basically from there, the only other spot to buy anything would be into town, which is like really is like 7 kilometers, I think, away.
And it's a winding, very small, very narrow, very steep, or steep incline, steep decline, in and out of the Catalan.
Yeah, so you would have to drive, even if you were renting a taxi or taking a tuk-tuk, like it would be a bit of an adventure to go and get drinks. So having done it again, or if we can save anyone else, stop when you're at a gas station or somewhere in town, pick up your supplies. Don't buy them there unless you absolutely have to. But I get it. Everybody's trying to make a living.
Yeah, but I would say if we spend a little bit more somewhere along the way, we're supporting the local economy. So those people are going to go and get our money, and they're going to spend it locally because we know that they don't travel very far because we talk to them. And it's going to be spent locally, which makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Road conditions. It's always something people want to know. How are the actual roads?
So driving through Mexico, I love the way they designed their highways. They have a lot of tolls, which you will pay sometimes quite a bit of money to get on the toll,
But
worth
really,
every penny to pay the high toll rates through Mexico. Because we went off the toll a few times and regretted it. We're like, where's the next toll? How can we get on it? But the main roads in Mexico, they have a little bit of a shoulder, which we have in Canada, the same thing. We have a shoulder in the United States, but they drive halfway in the shoulder almost all the time.
well, it has lines even. Like it's a paved, like half a lane.
It's half a lane. So it's there to drive in, and it's super clean. There's no rubbish. There's no dirt, no nothing, because people drive in this all the time.
Yeah.
And it's for passing. They don't have passing zones. They just have this lane. So you just kind of hang out there, and you can go the middle lot, center line, or whatever. No one's around. But it's for oncoming traffic coming the other way because people are going to be passing, and people are going to be passing behind you. So it's there, and there's never any traffic problem whatsoever because people just slide over to this zone where there's no vehicles.
Get out of the way and people pass.
People pass right down the middle. They drive the line, say.
So the only thing you need to make sure you watch for is, because you're essentially sharing the passing zone, which is the middle of the road, with traffic coming both ways. So you do have to watch, like if you pull out to pass, that someone isn't pulling out to pass coming in oncoming traffic. But
and people
hang it, it's easy.
Super courteous. People are nice. People will pull over to the right as far as they can, and they'll ease back so you pass them in time.
But while we loved that aspect of the Mexico roads, the roads were actually crap if you weren't on the toll, and the most speed bumps.
Oh, huge!
Anywhere in Central America.
Like we now know, what's it, topes? Topes. We now know there's a difference in different topes. There is the wide one, which is not so bad because you have the incline, decline, and you roll over them, no problem. But in Mexico, they have the sharp, very narrow, and they're high. They're you drive it over a curb every single time. It's like bam, bam. They're like, oh my God. And we have a luggage carrier? Cargo carrier on our hitch. So it makes us extra long and extra heavy. So we're hitting these things super slow, creeping over this, and people are passing us, obviously. Yeah. But we met up with another person with a cargo carrier. So if you watched our video, we swapped out our cargo carrier for safety because I'm like, I do not feel this cargo carrier is good. It pivoted, and it was too long. It was not meant for this kind of road trip in our vehicle. It wasn't good. So we spent an extra half a day swapping out our cargo carrier. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it. There's a reason why we swapped it out. We met this car that had probably a similar cargo carrier, overloaded it, and they're driving along, and this thing is just bobbing up and down, just smacking the pavement every little bump.
Well, they were driving it like they stole it.
Like they weren't even slowing down.
for a
They weren't even
speed
slowing down. They're just like hitting these bumps, and this thing's just bam against the ground. We're like, oh my God. And I keep every so many days, I'm like, aren't you glad you changed the car carrier? She's like, yep.
But definitely we see how people like get vehicle damage from the speed bumps in Mexico. They were the worst of anywhere. They were the most like aggressive speed bumps, like for height wise and like scraping, like I said, kind of like going over a curb. And they had by far the most in the shortest intervals too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, school zone speed bump, or you're approaching a school zone speed bump. Oh, you're now at the school zone speed bump.
You're coming to
You're now leaving.
Speed bump.
You're now leaving the school zone speed bump. You left this in another speed bump. Like going into a school zone, by all means, speed bumps, 100% safe, for the kids. But you're now leaving. Why am I hitting speed bumps leaving the school zone? Just to remind you.
Because they'd have like 5 speed bumps along the school zone, so it wasn't like you were speeding anyway.
Yeah.
Or like, there's a taco stand here. They put a speed bump, so people have to slow down.
I swear that some people were building speed bumps in the middle of the night just so you slow down, so you can go to the taco stand or someone who's asking for change.
They're coming selling juice or snacks.
Yes, juice or snacks. As you're like slowly rolling over, they're like, juice, snacks, bar nuts, like.
Yeah. So they had the worst speed bumps. El Salvador, the roads were great. Honduras, the roads were really good as well.
Yep.
Nicaragua, the roads are good.
Yep.
Very little speed bumps in Nicaragua, very little, like few in Honduras, few in El Salvador, but very few and not crazy.
Yep.
Guatemala.
Yeah, that was bad.
It wasn't.
And there's no tolls. Once you leave Mexico, there's very little tolls.
So Guatemala, like all the roads, at least where we were, and we were in the mountains a lot, very, very windy, very narrow. So you had to go really, really slow because they're so windy. And then they'd still put in speed bumps. Now the speed bumps weren't quite as aggressive as Mexico. They were a little bit more rounded, most of them. And they didn't have quite as many as Mexico. But it's like, you're only driving 30 anyway because the road's so twisty. What do you need a speed bump for? Just to slow it down. And do not look at the time that Google Maps tells you it's going to take. Like in Guatemala.
And more.
So the first day in Guatemala, we were going about 200 kilometers-ish from the border. We ended up stopping at a campsite that was about 175 kilometers once we figured out exactly where we wanted to stay. But either way, it took us 5.5 hours to go that time, and we only stopped like once for gas to go to the bathroom. And it was like that every single time in Guatemala. It was like, oh, it's going to take you, when we left Lake Atlan, we were going to Antigua. Oh, it's only, 75 kilometers. You're going to be there in an hour. No, you're going to be there in 3 hours. So just factor that in when you're planning your route. And that, I would say, Guatemala was the worst for that in terms of like extend your time. But everywhere was a little bit like that because by the time you factor in traffic, speed bumps, and just like the randomness, whether it's construction, slow traffic because you're going around people on the road or horse carts or any of that nature, it's going to take longer than it says it's going to take. And you don't want to drive at night. We already mentioned that. So just be prepared like that you don't overextend yourself and try to go too far every day.
Yeah. And once you get into Central America, there's tons of tuk-tuks, like everywhere. And they are like zipping in and out of traffic. And also motorbikes and scooters zipping in and out. Driving on your left side and on the right side, exact same time. You're like, this is super sketchy. Like it puts me on edge because I drive motorbike. I would never do the stuff that they do. I would never zip in and out and feel that secure that they are. They're just in and out like it's normal day driving for them, but it makes me nervous.
Makes me nervous.
And they don't wear helmets in a lot of countries. Lots of countries down here don't wear helmets. They have 3 people on a motorbike. They'll have the mom, the dad, and a kid. Like we're talking like a 2-year-old just sitting there.
Sometimes 2 kids.
Just like and then someone might be carrying like a box. And
or a
like,
ladder, or
yeah, it's
interesting.
it's interesting, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We caught a bunch of it on video, so we'll show you some of the interesting highlights of the drive-in.
Yeah, for sure. But all in all, the people were friendly everywhere.
Oh yeah.
People were super, super friendly everywhere. People always wanted to chat, interested in where you're going. Learn some Spanish though.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to tell you, oh yeah, you don't speak any Spanish, go for it. No, you're probably not going to have a good time, because pretty much everywhere we went, nobody spoke English. Like, my Spanish is okay-ish. Like, I can get by, I can get around, but I still need a lot of work. But my bad Spanish is 1,000 times better than their English. Like, most people didn't know any English other than maybe hi. So if you're relying on them to make it happen, no, it's going to be on you.
But also putting in the effort of trying to go and speak Spanish with them goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your effort of trying to speak, Spanish, try to speak their language, they appreciate, and they will put in way more effort to try to communicate with you.
Yeah.
Through body language, through, showing things, or going on their phone, and they'll Google Translate saves the day in a lot of situations. Like, if you really need to ask a question, you just Google Translate. And what we did for cell service is I bought an eSIM card, which was good for Latin America. We had 5 gig for the whole trip, and once we hit Managua, we were out. Like, we used up all the data. It was out, but we did pretty good on it.
Yeah, no, it worked well. And having something that would give you Google Translate in case the other person didn't have it on their phone would be helpful, especially if your Spanish isn't very good. Most of the time we were okay. We got Google Translate. Like, I was able to say we want to stay and ask for things and that kind of thing. But I think it would be very overwhelming if you didn't know any Spanish, especially crossing the borders. And as much as, like Chris said, yes, you try to speak their language, they're super helpful and appreciate it. But on the same token, there's a flip side to that, is you speak a little bit of Spanish and all of a sudden they're like,
so fast.
And you're like, whoa, slow down.
Talk to me like I'm a
3-year-old.
Yeah.
You give them a little bit of Spanish and all of a sudden they're just like, oh, hello, we want to chat. And then you're like, slow down. Like, that's way too many words, way too fast. And that I found happened quite a bit. And I'm like, that's really funny, because like, when I talk to people who don't speak English, I always speak like really, really slow and, try to use your hands or something. And I'm like, I don't know what it is here. Maybe they just talk fast all the time anyway, but.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
They do. Yeah. So that was interesting. So a little bit of Spanish. Like, a few other tips we have for anybody who maybe is making the drive. Oh, I see Jackie Werner, one of my yogis, is online. Hi, Jackie. Glad you're tuning in. Ideally, if you're driving a vehicle, so doing this trip, look for spots to stop that have secure parking.
Oh, yes.
So like a gate. So whether you're staying in a hotel or whether you're camping, a lot of places, and they'll advertise this, that they have a gate, they might have a guard that's there at night, and that's just to keep everything safe in your vehicle, because you do not want to pull everything in from your vehicle every night and then repack it.
Yes, even if you're staying in a hotel and you're away from your vehicle, we were with our vehicle overnight, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was just our own personal safety. But I don't know how well you would sleep with all yours, because we got rid of everything out of Canada. We brought whatever we needed in our car with us. So I would be super nervous if I left my vehicle in a parking lot where I thought it was going to get broken into, losing a laptop, losing a camera, so I'd probably bring all that stuff in, which would be way too much stuff. So secure parking.
Yeah. And the secure parkings are good. Like, you're gated in, there's usually a guard.
Yeah. Introduce yourself to the guard, talk to him a little bit, he'll put your mind at ease that your stuff is safe.
Yeah. And don't get like in your head about it, because we found this a couple times. We get in our head like, oh, there's a guard. Well, there must be a guard because it's dangerous. No, it's just kind of the way of life here. that they take security. They don't want to have break-ins. They want to make sure that nobody's vehicle gets broken into and these kind of things. And that's why they have a guard. And it's also employment for people.
Yeah.
So it's very, very common that places will have a night guard. Maybe not during the day, but they'll have a night guard. So don't let that freak you out and be like, oh, I'm not staying here because there's a guard. That means it's dangerous. No. You don't need a fixer or a helper to get through the borders. You definitely can do it on your own. The only place that we even saw fixers was El Salvador, Honduras border.
Mm-hmm.
We did see them in Guatemala, but they weren't there for us. They were only there for the trucks.
Yep.
And getting them through the process. Now, El Salvador, Honduras, we did end up using a fixer.
By accident.
We got to the border. They start asking us for like our car paperwork and that kind of thing. The guy looked super official. He's dressed in
He looked
a
like he
suit.
worked there.
Yeah, we thought that he did work there. And because we'd already been through a couple of borders and like, that's how they dress. That's what they look like. And they're like, okay, you need to take this. You need to come here. You need to come with me. So that's what I did. And then I kind of get partway into the process and I'm like, I think this guy's going to ask me for money.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
being
think
really
he
helpful.
actually-
Really, really helpful.
Yeah, too helpful. So we did end up paying him.
Like
and
$8.
Yeah,
I gave him like $8.
maybe
Which
it
was-
was a little bit more. But
No.
no?
No.
I was like 20. Not the guy we paid $8. The other guy that was like, there's a bunch of fees.
Well, he was super helpful. He got us through the border.
Helpful.
Yeah.
In that border, we didn't really need it, but he was super helpful. And then he was friends with the guy that I made friends with at the pupuseria, and it just turned into a whole big thing. And
Got
then
bamboozled.
yeah, because once they start helping you, you almost can't say no.
They hold on to your paperwork, and it becomes very awkward.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we spent a little bit of money on a fixer. His family can eat for probably the next month.
Well, not that much. We didn't spend that much.
No, but you know what I mean. Like the money goes to locals. He's going to spend it in the economy, what have you.
In
But
overall,
just-
like grand scheme of the whole trip and what we spent, an extra $8 to one guy or an extra 20 to another. We got through the border. He told us, go here, go here, go here. Made our life and stress a lot less.
Yeah. Well, and in
So
that
I
border,
would say it's worth it.
in that border, you had to go like
It was so
3 kilometers
disorganized.
away to do the pet stuff. So I mean, in that border, it was worth it.
Well, he had guys on scooters
Yeah.
running up and doing things for us and preparing different spots.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, hey, just follow the scooter over here because you have dogs. So it's a completely separate area. So that was a tuk.
Yes.
So we follow tuk all the way to this other spot where they do for animals. And so he had probably other people getting paid out of the $20 that we gave him.
Yeah.
But
So just be aware of that. That would be the one place like there was fixers and it was helpful.
But you could do it completely on your own. It may take a little bit longer to get through the border, and you may have a little bit extra stress. So weigh your options on, and make sure maybe ask them how much the fee is up front. Go and what was it, Hagar?
Look, I'm not paying you. So after we had that experience, then the next border
Yeah,
we got
paranoid.
to was the Nicaragua one. And so the same kind of thing happened when we first got to the border of Nicaragua, the Honduras El Salvador border. There's a guy in a suit, like I think he's the guy. And then I start going to the window and he's like trying to carry my paperwork and this. And I'm like, I think he's trying to fix me, but I don't need help. And even like the guy in the one booth was like, no, she's good, whatever. And he kept like following me. And they're very, very persistent. That is the thing too. So it's kind of like, how much stress do I want to go through to like tell this guy to get lost?
But also, what are the consequences? Because he may know people who may make things a little more difficult getting through the border.
So it's a double-edged sword. But what we learned from him, so I realized he was trying to fix us, and so I tried to like take my paper back and do some stuff. So we only paid him $8.
Yeah.
But then when we got to the next border, I was like, okay, these people, they're in like a Nike sweatshirt and like whatever, and they want to see our paperwork, and we're like, these aren't official border guys, these are fixers. So I'm like, no, it's okay. We're not paying you. Like, we don't need help. We're not going to pay you. And I'm telling you in Spanish. And they're like, yeah, you don't need to pay us.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
you don't pay
no.
us.
Like, not at the end. Like, I'm not paying you. And they're like, no, here's your customs form. And I was like, oh my God.
We work here, legit. The government pays us. The government pays us, you don't pay us. Like, that would be a bribe. Oh, shoot, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So very embarrassing. But yeah, here's your custom forms. We're government officials.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So
We're still standby. We're not paying you.
it's a little embarrassing, but if we did it again, that's what I would make sure. Because sometimes there's actual officials asking for your paperwork when you're in your car or whatever. Other times you have to park the car, you have to get out and you have to go give it at the booth. So that's where the confusion is. That's how they get you, is you think you're on the right path and you're not, but minor expense.
Yep.
Don't worry about gas. There's gas everywhere.
Oh, there's gas stations.
Tons of gas stations.
So we brought a little 5-liter just in case, because I felt more comfortable bringing a 5-liter jerry can with us, and I'm glad I did, and I wouldn't change that because we had the cargo carrier. So the gas tank and the propane tank set outside the vehicle, no fumes, no danger to us, the dogs, nothing. They're outside, so that was safe. But yeah, there's gas stations every 50 kilometers, 80 kilometers, maybe the stretch would be 100 kilometers. So anytime we got to, there's 200 kilometers left in your tank, because it gives you an estimate.
Yeah.
We'd be like, okay, let's find a gas station.
Stop.
And we would find a gas station within 20 kilometers or 30 kilometers from that time. So it gave us, because we were driving for a good length of time, sometimes not the greatest road, gave us a break, gave us time to get out, stretch our legs, try to talk to the gas attendant, which you don't pump your own gas in Central America. Someone will pump it for you. That's just one of the things. And they will tell you, they'll reaffirm with you, like, call you over to the pump, zeros. It's just procedure for them, whatever. They will verify with you that zeros before they start pumping. And that's what they do. So yeah, get out, go to the washroom, go get some water. So gas stations are plentiful, and they're nice gas stations. Plenty good gas stations. If you find a shady one, you're like, I don't feel so comfortable. Don't worry about it. You're going to go and find a Puma or a Uno or a Pemex or any gas station along the way.
And most of the gas stations, the bathrooms are pretty decent.
Yep.
Not always a toilet seat, not always toilet paper.
But sometimes there's toilet paper outside the bathroom, one big giant roll that you
estimate.
You estimate how much you're going to use before you actually enter the bathroom to go into the stall.
And some places, more in Mexico, but in some places you have to pay a few coins, like a very, very small amount, to use the washroom. So hang on to your change, just be prepared.
And those are the nice ones.
Yeah, those ones are nice.
Yeah, if you have to pay for it, there's toilet paper, there's toilet seats, they're super clean. So live a little.
Yeah, like the bathroom situation was very good. And you never had to worry that you weren't going to make it for gas, or you weren't going to be able to find a spot if you had to pee. Like, there was always spots, other than on the tolls in Mexico.
Yes, there's no bathrooms on the toll roads. There is bathrooms at the toll stations.
Yeah.
Like before the toll stations or after the toll stations.
And not a gas station. It's like just its own bathroom.
Just its own rest area, bathroom. And I believe you have to pay at those ones as well, because they're super nice. But the whole stretch of a toll will be no gas stations or anything, nothing, except for straight on road where you're just hitting the highway and you're going.
Yeah. So if you're getting on the toll, make sure you get gas before you go. But even then, the toll will end like in time for you to get gas. You're not going to run out of gas.
Yeah, you're not going to be on a 500-kilometer toll. That doesn't exist. You're going to be on a 50-kilometer or 100-kilometer maximum toll before you hit another one.
But if you thought you kind of had to pee and you're like, oh, we'll just go half an hour down the road. No, that happened once.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that situation's all pretty good. There's water everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, no issue getting water.
Bottled water.
bottled water. Everybody drinks bottled water here. You can get like the big jugs.
The 20 liters.
Yeah. Now, if you get the 20 liter, know that you're going to pay a deposit, and the deposit is like 5 times more than the actual water. And you can only bring it back for the deposit in the same country. So we have like a big refillable jug, and we refilled that. One time they didn't have like the 5 liters, so we bought a big one. And then we tried to return the jug. We couldn't return it because we'd already crossed into another country. And then one spot we bought it, we dumped it into our own and returned it right away. So if you have a holding tank or like a big water bottle that you're refilling and you can return it right away unless you know you're going to be country for a little while. Otherwise, purchase like the 4 or 5 liter bottles that they have, but they're in every gas station.
And they're super cheap.
Yeah, every gas
You're
station.
paying $1 for like a 5 liter. So
yeah, no issue finding water. Like there was never a like, ooh, we're gonna run out of water. Like that was no issue. The only time that we were like, okay, we didn't need to be cautious, but just we were camping for 3 days and we topped up before we left, and then it was like, okay, are we gonna have enough water? And we did. But like definitely, yeah, you're good. Easy to find. There are spots too for people that have like the vans and RVs that have like the tanks that you can fill up. Like you can go, and those are shown on iOverlander as well, where you can actually go and like refill. Those usually are in the towns. So it's in the town you're looking for, like, you know, the locals will fill up the big water jugs. That's where they're refilling. That's where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
So look for that.
I also just want to say the propane from Canada and from the US, not the same propane tanks. So if you think that you're going to be filling up along the way, your tank that you brought from North America, they won't. I mean, maybe they can, but the adapters are not the same. Our propane tank that we brought from Canada, it's useless to refill here because it's completely different connection. Just be aware of that. Do your research. If you're going to bring a tank down, it might not be useful after it's depleted.
Yeah. So now that we're here and we're planning to go on other trips, we're going to have to look for an adapter to go with our stove so we can use a local propane tank.
Yes.
And yeah, but those things are out there. So just, yeah, be aware of that.
Always, whenever you do a trip like this, do your research.
Yeah. We usually aimed to be like getting into camp around 3 p.m. The sun starts to go down like 5:30 most places, and it's like dark by 6 or very close to 6. So just be aware of that. Don't wait till the last minute to find a spot. You know, plan accordingly. Have a couple backups just in case like a place is closed or you go there and they're full or what have you.
I don't like to work past 3. So even while I'm down here, we're in Rivas. I'm like, Tovah, we're shopping. You're gonna have to pay me overtime because we're working past 3. This is almost 3:30 now before we get home. So I don't like to work past 3. So that's what we keep the habit of, is we don't drive past 3. I mean, if it's 3:30, there's some buffer in there. But shut her down, 3 o'clock, set up your camp, just relax.
Yeah.
Don't try to push the road all the way into late at night. Don't risk it. Don't advise it.
Enjoy yourself.
It's a vacation. It's a trip. It's an adventure.
Yeah. Currency, pretty much everywhere took American dollars except for Guatemala.
Mm-hmm.
So at all the borders, there are other fixers, currency people.
Yeah, currency changers.
Will trade money with you. You don't need it everywhere except for in Guatemala. And in Guatemala, you need it even at the border. The closest bank is like a kilometer away,
and it was
on the
hectic.
other side of the border.
And
so
it was super hectic. Like, it's like, no, it's. So what we did is we realized we didn't have any Guatemalan money. I'm not sure what the currency's called. But anyway, we didn't have any of it. So we just took whatever we had left in Mexican, because we had Mexican money, we had pesos, and we just transferred that over into Guatemalan. And they will take, just so you know, they will take probably a 20% cut. So you're not getting the premium rates, but they're not going to totally rip you off. Like, they do this for a job. Basically, they take 20%, and just so you know, your bank probably takes 6 to 8% of the premium currency anyway. So, you factor in whatever you want, and it's convenient. Give them the Mexican money, you're done with it. You don't need any more. Get rid of it. Get the Guatemalan money, and then you're good to go.
And they'll tell you right at the border, like they know how much you need to pay for all the things. So at least get that much, and then probably a little bit of spending money.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the border that we crossed, the bank was like over a kilometer through the border. Like, so we couldn't have gotten to the bank anyway to get the money. But, either you can get your money for the whole time you're in Guatemala there, or get just enough to get you through the border.
And that's what we did.
And then that's what we did. We got enough to get through the border. And then when we got to the next little town, we went to the bank machine, we took out money at the ATM,
Yep.
and we were fine.
Yeah, we always kept enough money that we could, survive. Just enough money. We didn't carry a large amount of money. We didn't go and have money on us that would pay for the rest of the trip. We only had enough to make it a few days.
Yeah, gas, food, whatever we might need.
And then talk about gas, I paid Visa for gas every single stop.
Yeah.
I came out, like, anytime I pulled up, I'm like, do you take Visa? Sometimes they'll say, no, the Puma down the street will. So then we went to the Puma.
Well, I think that only happened once,
once.
that they said that they didn't take credit card, and they told us where to go.
Yep. So then gas was covered, so we didn't have to go and carry that money. So that was cash that wasn't in our vehicle.
Yeah.
So we only had to go and worry about food and where we're staying, really.
Yeah.
That's the
And
only
gas
expense.
was the biggest expense, so
Gas
it was
was-
nice to not have to carry that cash.
And since we stopped so often, we were only paying $30 or $40 per fill up. So that doesn't hurt when you're only putting $30 or $40 in per tank. So.
Yeah. How are the dogs on the trip?
The dogs loved it. Tigger loved the backseat. Like,
He's a car dog.
he is a car dog. Penel is an adventure dog. She just loves to snuggle with Tigger, and she likes to go and be with us.
Yeah.
So they both loved it. We made, we're frozen again. Good picture of you. But we made sure that they are safe and very comfortable. So anytime the temperature in the vehicle went above 24 degrees, the air conditioner would kick on overnight. So we had a thermometer in with the dogs, so we can see while we sleep. Oh, the car is 25, 26 degrees. Boom, remote start, vehicle AC kicks in, starts the car, runs it, cools it right down, nice and comfortable. They sleep through the night.
Yeah.
So,
And we were like obviously checking the weather, so we knew how cool it was going to get in the evening. We always like stayed out at the campsite a little bit, let everybody cool down. This is usually a nice breeze, and it would cool down. And we knew that the car with the dogs in, like, we'd have the windows down and their sun bug screens on. We knew that the car would be about 2 degrees warmer than the outside temperature, so we would already know if it was going to be a night, it was going to be a little warmer. And because we're sleeping in the tent right above, and we have like a sunroof in the vehicle, even without the sunroof, we can hear the dogs, and we can hear them snoring. We can hear them if they started to pant, like anything like that. We would know if they were not good. And then I would know, okay, it's going to be warmer night. So I would just make sure I wake up, set the alarm, get up, check on them. Yeah, they were good. And we also had ice in our freezer in case we needed it. We had a couple of ice packs in there. We could do cool wet towels. Knock on wood. I'm not super quiet, so Tigger doesn't get excited. We never needed any of that. They were good. I mean, Tigger's a bit of a heat pig anyway.
he loves baking in the sun.
He loves it. Penel, not quite as much, but they were both fine.
Yeah, and we took care of them. I know there's a lot of people, and also every border crossing, they were very concerned for the dogs and the heat. And they're like, yeah, make sure you crack a window. They would be like, oh, no, leave the vehicle running, lower windows down a little bit, and we can lock the vehicle if we had to run in for whatever border crossing thing. And they would stand by our vehicle and make sure that it's safe. The dogs are safe. And the border crossing people, loved the dogs.
They love the
Absolutely
dogs.
loved that. They want to see them. They want to visit them. They want to like that. They're super friendly. Dogs had an amazing time.
It was super fun to travel with them.
Yep.
Like what we lost in maybe not being able to go on as many side adventures because we didn't want to leave the dogs too long.
Yeah, rafting trip. Oh, just bring the dog. We're like, no, the dogs don't go in rafts. Oh no, we have like life jackets for the dogs. We're like, no, you got to meet our dogs. They don't do like river
Water
rafting.
activities, yeah.
Yeah.
But we had such a fun time with them and loved the camping and all of that. Like, so we knew we weren't gonna like leave the dogs in the car and go for a 3-hour hike, even though we were places that we would want to do that. Like we knew we weren't going to do that kind of trip, but it was a great trip.
Yeah.
How do we get clean, shower, all of that kind of stuff? Well, basically, we swam as much as we could. There are lots of places that we stopped. You'll see on iOverlander, lots of places have little pools, like not huge pools, nothing fancy, but like lots of places have pools. So if there was like a pool, we'd go for a swim. If they had showers, we would make sure we shower, wash your hair any chance that you get. I had some dry shampoo in case I needed it, which I only used one day. And then of course we had wet wipes for when we needed them.
Yeah.
So no huge deal there. And lots of places we stopped had showers,
Yeah, we just took advantage of the different spots, like to go in. If there's a shower there, we got a good shower.
Yeah.
Sometimes it wasn't warm; it was a cold shower. One spot in Mexico, we stopped. I realized it a little too late in the game, but it was nice and warm when you got in there. You're like, oh, this is super nice and warm. It's a hot shower. Well, it's all the piping was in the sun, so I was getting the warm water that was in the pipe. Once that warm water is run out and you're in the reservoir, it's a cold shower after that. So then I told Tove, hey, this was going on. Go in, use the water, shut it off. Preserve that little bit of warm water.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's hot, so a little cool shower is fine. Like it's not bone chilling.
Yeah. Shower or use the shower whenever we can. And swimming holes were our best friend.
Yeah. I think we're still frozen.
We're frozen, but they can hear us.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, really, this is the last thing we were going to talk about. We've been online for quite a while already. It was a great trip.
We're pushing 2 hours.
Yeah. The tent, loved it.
Love the tent.
The tent was amazing.
Yeah. So the rooftop tent we had, it is Alpha 2.
From Tough Stuff Overland.
Yeah, from Tough Stuff Overland. Great tent, great setup. We actually blended in Mexico because there's a lot of rooftop carriers, and it just looked like an oversized rooftop carrier while driving through Mexico.
Yeah.
Border crossings never gave us a problem. We had to open it up once. The other time they X-rayed it, but they're just what is that? Oh, it's tenting, camping. Oh, no worries, it's good.
Yeah, and I mean we slept in the tent a bunch of nights before we left, and we loved it. And now we've been in the tent for like a month. Still love it. Like
love it. It's comfortable. Like I would say probably one of the best sleeps, and it was also getting fresh air. Yeah. So I slept really well in the rooftop tent, and then I stayed in a hotel one night, super cushy, beautiful hotel, luxury. Lay down in bed, super soft, super plush. I was in pain and agony. If you don't know me, I have like really bad back problems, especially when I sleep. Tove asked me the next morning, like, oh, how'd you sleep? I'm like, horrible.
Back in the tent.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back in the tent tonight. Like I can't sleep in this super cushy bed. It was hilarious.
Yeah, we finished the trip. We were in Managua for a couple of days, and we stayed in a nice hotel. And it was funny. So yeah, love the tent. Loved it before we left. Still love it now. Yeah. Sets up easy, tears down easy.
Super fast. Yeah.
It's an amazing tent. Like if you were shopping for a rooftop tent, this one's top notch and at a very affordable price. And I'm saying that just as a user. They're not paying us. We're not getting anything from Tough Stuff. But we did do a ton of research before we bought our tent. And based on the research, this was the tent that we decided to buy. And we're more than happy with it. So
yeah, it was. So I would recommend a hard shell rooftop tent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spend a little extra money.
Spend the extra.
Have the hard shell. I mean, if you're just doing like camping, you probably do soft shell, no problem. But we were doing an adventure for long periods of time, driving long distances. Hard shell, bug proof, easy setup, easy tear down. Love it. And I can stretch right out. Like I'm 6'2", maybe 6'3". I
Yeah.
think I'm 6'2", but I can stretch right out and have no problem. My feet aren't going to be hanging out of the tent. Like it's super comfy. It's a queen size bed.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's a great
Love it.
tent. If you haven't checked out some of our tent videos, go and take a look at them if you're shopping for a tent. Even if you're not doing like super adventure camping, I would still say in the long run, you'll probably be happier to spend the extra money and get the hard shell. And if you ration it out, like how much per night, before you say, okay, this was really worth its money, it's a little bit more money for the hard shell, but like
Long run.
it lasts longer. The pack up and setup is much faster and easier. So a lot of people, sometimes they'll start with the soft shell because they, get a little sticker shock with the little extra price for the hard shell, and then they end up converting and getting a hard shell anyway. So just go straight for hard shell. You won't be.
Yeah, and we're going to go and do some videos on all the stuff that we brought with us,
like our gear,
all our gear, what we liked, what we didn't like. There's some stuff that we really liked initially, and then longevity wise didn't quite stand up to the comfort level, or things that I didn't like at the very beginning, but Tove really, really stood by it. And then I was converted near the end going, this is a game changer. This actually was compact. It did what it said it was going to do, and I'm super happy. So stay tuned for gear reviews. So yeah, great camping gear, and how we liked it or didn't like it, the positives and negatives, and how to make things better. Yeah.
And 30 days on the road definitely has taught us a lot, and we're happy to help anybody out. So if you are thinking of doing a similar trip, if you're just looking to go into one of the countries, you have questions about the gear we used or the route we took or anything like that, we'll get into more detail in the videos, but definitely please just send us a comment on any of our videos, and we'll answer your questions. So we're happy to help other people out. Apologies with the crappy video. It's like our curse of doing live. It's always something when we go live. But hopefully you got some good information. Thanks to friends and family who we know checked in and said hello. We miss you guys, and we'll chat again.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.